These are the Rambo action figures from my Gen X toy collection.
Murdoch, I'm coming to get you.
The movie First Blood was the first in this whole series of movies, and it was an incredible movie despite it being the lowest money maker of the whole franchise. The second movie moved the setting from the Pacific Northwest to Vietnam, and that movie sort of handled the naming transition. It was First Blood Part 2, but they named it Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then they continued with Rambo 3 and other Rambos because they kind of realized it's easier to just remember a Rocky sequel or a Rambo sequel than First Blood. First Blood Part 2 came out in 1985, and it is still today the largest grossing film of the franchise. 85 was also the year that Arnie's Commando came out, another great movie which put the two of them in 80s competition for cinematic shredded slaughter. In Rambo 3, the setting now changes to Afghanistan, and in 4, it goes to Burma. And 4 might be my favorite one, or tied with 3 perhaps. The fifth one is a combination of being kind of in the Southwest US as well as parts in Mexico, and is still a great movie too. The toy collection here, which is actually made by Coleco, and I always associated Coleco more with electronics for the ColecoVision, the kind of console video games that were competing with Atari and whatever else at the time. But Coleco also made non-electronic toys, including this collection. There were quite a few characters in the collection, and there's some that make sense, like Rambo and Troutman. There's a lot of others in there that really don't make any sense. I don't know really where they got the ideas for them, but they don't necessarily have a place in the movie like the other two that I have here, and I'll explain why. Regardless, these are the three figures that I have, the first one being Rambo himself. In Rambo's belt, he does have his trusty survival knife. You can see that it looks more like the survival knife that he had in First Blood Part 2, or even First Blood Part 1 to be honest, but it definitely does not look like this Rambo 3 knife that I have. He uses the knife throughout the movie, including one of the last scenes where he uses it to ensure that Murdoch needs to go check his shorts.
Find him, or I'll find you.
He also has the twin T-knives in the spine of his belt. And as you recall, there's one scene where he uses those to surprise the baddies with and stab them. There is the RPG rocket launcher, and this is one of the action toys. It's on a string. This is the original string, and you can see that the RPG itself is actually spring-loaded. Pull it back, and it shoots out at the other guys. So that's the idea of it. Usually what I do for just sitting on the shelf is wrap the string around here so that it looks the way it's supposed to, and he uses this in the movie towards the end of it as he shoots from the helicopter to take out the Russian chopper. There's the ammo belt around the shoulder and his trusty M60 that he, I believe, took that off the turret in the helicopter that he steals near the end. He uses that to escape the prison camp, and he also uses that to destroy the computer room back at base. So as far as I can tell, Rambo is in perfect condition with all parts that he left the factory with, including his little ID card that they sent with each of the characters. The next one I have is Black Dragon. This is where it gets confusing, because Black Dragon appears to be a ninja based on the weapons, his toe boots, whatever you want to call those things that the ninjas wore for ninja boots. Things like the ninja sword, ninja stars, etc. Looks pretty much like a ninja. Now, in First Blood Part 2, it takes place in Vietnam. So ninjas are from Japan, so that doesn't really make any sense. There's clearly no attack of ninjas in Rambo First Blood Part 2. However, everything in the 80s was about ninjas. They were everywhere in action scenes. People were starting to fight with their feet as much as their hands. And I, as a kid, had things like the nunchucks that I made. I had the ninja stars. It was just a popular thing back in those days. A lot of ninja movies as well. This particular ninja, Black Dragon, comes with his ninja sword. Not pictured in the movie because Black Dragon wasn't. He has his pistol crossbow, which is another one of the gadgets like the RPG, where it's a spring-loaded crossbow with a projectile. You can pull the string back and shoot it. He has his throw knife in the holster on the ankle. He has his ninja star on the wrist holster. And he has this thing, which they call a Bakatsugama, which actually looks more like a Koyetsu Shoge, but whatever you want to call it, it's like a handle with a chain and a knife on the end of it. Again, probably more likely to be seen with ninjas than the Vietnamese soldiers. So again, much like Rambo, as far as I can tell, the Black Dragon is complete with all the goodies that he came with, including his Black Dragon ID card that he came with in the package. The last one makes even less sense. Nomad appears to be perhaps a Mideastern character. And Rambo doesn't even go to the Mideast until Rambo 3 when he's in Afghanistan. Nonetheless, the Nomad character has his belt with a pistol in it. He has this knife with a holster. He has another knife in his hand. And I'm actually not even sure where that goes, to be honest, because I don't see another holster for him. And he has the cannon on his chest that I believe is spring-loaded. Let's see, how does that work? Oh yeah, here we go. So there's a lever on the side here, and if you push it, that's the release. So the cannon can come up, and he can see very visually where he's shooting. Put it back down, and it snaps into place. So again, with Nomad as the other two, looks like he has all his accessories with him. Fully equipped for battle in a movie that he didn't exist. And that does include Nomad and his little ID card that came with him in the package. As soon as this video posts, I will be listing these three in a collection, all or none, on eBay. And I will put the link to that auction in the description unless I have a prearranged sale happening. It'll be in there, and then there will also be the link to the Excel sheet on my website that shows all these guys with their weapons, showing that everything's included. So before you go back to wondering who had worse hair between the mom and Uncle Buck and the mom and the Lost Boys, click the little link below to subscribe, click the little bell for notifications, and let's live for today.